Good evening, everybody. For those of you joining in, right at the start, hopefully we can get a couple of you in nice and early on. How is everybody doing this evening? It is Orbit Reality versus Rent Free. This is for the Kamikaze League. Is everything up and running? I hope everybody can hear me for those of you who are just tuning in. Hopefully we've got a couple of you in so far. If not, no worries. Hello, I see a couple of you just arriving into chat. How are we this evening? How is everybody doing today? Just bear with, gotta get myself promos out there, gotta... Yeah, just... shamelessly plugging myself on every single Discord league that I'm currently part of. Gotta get my name out there. Goodness me, I can't English today. Hopefully, of course, my English does improve throughout this evening. So we will be alright by the time we get into the game. But we'll be kicking everything off shortly. Just waiting for the members of, I believe it's Orbit Reality, to drop in. And as soon as they're here, we can get things underway for you. But yes, how is everybody this evening? Who's in chat today? Just want to check. Rent-free, start, defense. So it's Oregon first and rent-free. Cool. Oh, goodness me. Oh, how's everybody's Monday been? How's the start of the week? I know mine's been a little bit slow, has to be said. That is the issues with a 9-to-5 job, but hey ho, it pays the bills and it keeps me it keeps me in pocket, which is always nice. Not that I've really got anything to spend my money on at the moment, apart from Siege, as you can probably tell from my number of R6 credits. But it's one thing being able to spend money on Siege, but it's another thing actually being able to buy something that I want. Which currently, there isn't anything. There's no elites, there's no... well, there's plenty of elites, there's just none that I want. So there you go. Anyway, nice to see people flooding in this evening. I say flooding in as if there's lots of you. There's only about 8 of you so far, but still, welcome to the stream, everybody. Hey, Splashy, how you doing? I saw that you had become an SSL caster. Yes, indeed I have. I was asked just the other day, I believe by Saint, of all people. He just asked me to hop into the Siege and asked to become a caster, and what do you know? I'm now a caster in the SSL. Not necessarily a league that I'm familiar with, but then again, I didn't even know about this any of this league scene on the on Discord about, let me think, probably about like 2 months ago now. I barely knew about any of this, so there you go. Anyway, we've got some followers coming in. Firstly, while I've been offline, I want to say a big thank you to Blixby for dropping a follow. Recognise you, I believe, from some of the other one of the other casters in some of these leagues. And also want to say a big thank you to Dr. Evil Kid for the follow. Thank you very much. Can we see the ranks? Yes, of course you can, Emir Salan. Bear with me 1 second. R6 Darksea is a Plat 2. Delete the game. Plat 2. Okay, I'm going to do a guess now. Krynos? Yeah, I'll go with Krynos. Plat 1. Hey, I got Plat 1. Cairo? Plat 3. Ooh, Plat 2. Not far off, though. Not far off. What we got with Scrazzy? Ah, when there's X's in people's names, I don't know what it is, but my brain just goes, so I don't know. Scrazzy, Plat 1. Will, is he champion or is he diamond? I can't remember. Diamond, there we go. What's it? I believe he's diamond as well. Yes, indeed. Dixon, another diamond. Yes, indeed. And finally, Shams, a diamond. Yes, indeed. Almost a full stack of diamonds, I believe. And finally, we'll have a look at Washington. Cool, perfect. These are Plat 1. There you are, you guys. You've all seen them nicely. How's everybody doing today? Thank you. 2 more followers. We've had TTV Lucid Lee and Imara Salan 999. I think I put enough 9s in there, but we'll just have to wait and see. Perfect. Where is it? Perfect. Awesome. Who's OT, by the way? Perfect. So today's game we will be seeing Orbit Reality versus Rent Free. I need to try and remember which way around they are. I believe Rent Free is blue team and Orbit Reality is orange team. If I'm wrong though, I do apologise. Hopefully things will pick up. I need to prepare a bit more for these games, but sadly today I haven't necessarily had the time. But hey ho, your title is wrong, I think. Yes, I've tried updating it, but it is indeed wrong. I'll get that updated for you shortly, Chanka. Defense Oregon OT, cool. And that's for... There we go. Perfect. Perfect. Cool. Everybody is... I'll just check that everyone ready to go. And then while we load into everything, I will get the stream actually updated properly. So that I did update it, but obviously Twitch was like, yeah, I'll update it. And then I was like, nah. Computer says no. So here we are saying it's supposedly Zodiac B versus Black Angels, but no, that happened last week. If any of you have missed that, I think it's still on my channel. So you can go have a watch of it there. But if not, yep, everybody is ready to go. First map today we'll be seeing is Oregon. Let's get this one underway while I actually update the stream information. Woo! So it is Orbit Reality taking on Rent Free in this best of 2 today for the Kamikaze League. How is everybody doing today, by the way? Have you all had a good start to your Monday? By the way, hi Chanka, hi Maz, how you doing? Let's get predictions underway nice and early. Game 1 win. Will it be Orbit Reality? Or will it be Rent Free? Just trying to remember these guys' names is a difficult one. I always struggle for the very first time when I'm casting teams because I don't recognise names. I don't really work out which team is which. So I just struggle for a bit. Hopefully by the second map everything will have sorted itself out a little bit more and I'll be sort of on my game. But for now you're just going to have to deal with me being slightly special, slightly bad. But hey ho, it's what you guys tune in for. What team is What's It on? I believe What's It is on Rent Free. Somebody do please correct me if I am wrong. For those of you that are watching that of course do know this league and do know these teams, and please feel free to correct me when I have cocked up basically, because chances are I will. But hopefully I will get both of these teams 90% right. I'm going to give myself like a 10% chance to fuck up. But hopefully 90% of the time I will be getting both of these teams right. So we'll just have to wait and see. Nope. Wrong. I thought it was on Orbit. I don't know. Somebody tell me. Orbit Reality. Have I got them the wrong way around? So Will, What's It, Dixon, Shams, they're on Orbit Reality. And Rent Free is Delete the Game, Krynos, Darkies. Please confirm me. And nice to see you again, Lydia. How you doing? And I'm English. Cheers for tuning in, my dude. Anyway, let's get this one underway. I believe I saw a Thatcher Jackal Mirror Valkyrie. Valkyrie being maybe not the most expected ban on this map. Thank you for confirming it, by the way, Lydia. And how you doing, Connor? Team Bunder Patrol. Where are these teams standing wise? I'm not the right person to be asking, unfortunately. Essa Sayaki, if that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if I've just butchered your name. I don't quite know where these two teams are. I may be able to have a little bit of a look shortly for you. However, hopefully somebody in the chat who does know this league and knows where these two teams are will be able to give you that answer. Anyway, we're kicking things off by starting in the kids' dorms and the dorms main hall today. World's worst face it team. If you say so. Oh, dear me. Anyway, so I believe Rent Free are starting on the top floor in the kids' bedrooms. It's the first week, 1 win. Well, you guys are just saying things. I'm just going to ignore chat for a little bit of time. Let you guys just chat about it. Anyway, as I say, I believe we see a Rent Free going onto the top floor to start this one off. Meanwhile, we do see the side of Orbit Reality bringing along not really any unexpected operators there, and sort of the same to be said for Rent Free. Does seem like, though, Delete the Game might be in the process of deleting his game. He does seem to be slightly AFK in the corner at the moment. Hopefully he waits up in enough time to actually take part in this one. But we'll just have to wait and see. This will be the game where I put my channel points on the right team. There's a first time for everything, eh, Lydia? For those of you that don't know, Lydia has been following my channel for some time now. She's one of my very first followers. Greatly appreciate that. But it's sort of been a running joke for some time that she always puts her channel points on the team that ends up losing and doesn't do very well. So hopefully today is the one time that she does get it right. So we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, we start things off by seeing what's it going below as that Zofia, using one of those impact nades to, of course, make a hole in the floor. Get rid of the meat jammer that was stopping the closet wall from being broken into. We also do see the likes of Will going to start the Maverick trick over on the attic wall. Making a little bit of a mess there, but eventually starting to get it open. Not the most beautiful of straight lines, but he's getting there. Once again, there also does appear to only be a mute jammer on this wall, despite Bandit being in play. Obviously, he wasn't necessarily being used, because we did see Delete the Game being slightly AFK before. We do see, though, Washington playing very aggressive, super close on these boxes right here. Of course, so the Ash playing in a very strange position, feet up in the air, just like that. We see Dixon splayed out on his back, now pushing in. The ping has come out, so he knows where the Wamai is. Quick little peek and easily gets a kill there. The reinforcement has just gone up, though, on the breach. C4 going up. Shams does collect Cryans, though, in return. Not much damage being done. Cairo does manage to get one kill back, though, as Shams has pushed in, is now planting into the default spot. Darky gets himself another kill, but Dixon managed to refrag. The plant has now gone down. Dixon is now stuck in this attic, just holding the crosses. They have the Bandit of Delete the Game at the top of the white stairs. A lot of members on the side of Orbit Reality are very low. Dixon, though, gets himself a triple kill, and that's a 1v3. Can Delete the Game show a big hit? Does do a little bit of damage. Managed to kill Dixon. Headshot right there. Shams is on incredibly low health, and so is Scrazzy, or Scrazzy? I don't know how to pronounce that. Anyway, 20 seconds left on the clock. He only has a short amount of time to make something happen here. And with a nice cross being held between these two players, if he goes for this diffuser, he will die from one direction or another. And there we go. As he swings the corner, Shams takes him off. And the first round goes in favour of Orbit Reality. Very quickly saw that one going one way and then the other. For a second, it did look like Rent Free were maybe about to start this one off very strong, but eventually Orbit Reality did manage to, of course, push their way inside, force that diffuser down, and once they'd got that control and had the diffuser down, they just kept hold of the games room site, allowed the plant to, of course, stay there on the floor, didn't let any of the members of Rent Free defuse it, and a well-timed flashbang did blind everybody, meaning that they could pick up a couple of kills, and Delete the Game was left in a very unfortunate 1v2, which unfortunately, with very few rotates, after they, of course, had reinforced that bottom attic rotate into the kids' dorms, he unfortunately was unable to clutch that one out. If Will lets me down, I think I'll have to dump him. Oh, okay, fair enough. Fair enough. That's, well, hopefully Will isn't in the stream, but, somebody who knows Will, well, especially... Are you going to tell him that, Lydia? I hope you do. Fingers crossed he does well. I'm English. I like your casting. Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. Does seem like a few people do like my casting. There's quite a lot of you that have now dropped a follow. We have 142 of you that do like my casting, so thank you very much, everybody, for appreciating what I do. I'm glad people enjoy it, and I will try and continue doing it. I will be a little bit rusty though. I have had a few days off here and there, mainly partially because there's not been too many games happening in the league that I normally cast in, and I'm always busy or booked up on the days that people have asked me to. I have had a bit of a break, but I'm back now, and hopefully, like I say, once I get my head around these two teams, hopefully my casting will be pretty molto bien tonight. But do ignore my attempts at any foreign languages. I'm terrible at them. Anyway, what's Chank saying? I'm in a game with her daddy and daddy's girl. Oh dear, Chanka. Oh dear. Anyway, so far people putting their channel points on the predictions. Currently everybody has put all of their channel points onto Orbit Reality. And as I said, that Cryans just managed to swing from Trophy very quickly, picking up Shams, but Shams has done his duty. He has got the main closet wall open, although there does seem to be a little bit of debris on that breach. One of the ace charges maybe not going off as much as he would have liked. That might be a bit of a pain to try and squeeze through later on, as I do believe that middle part is still reinforced, so it can't just be melee to get it out the way. Now in a 4v5, we do see the side of Orbit Reality just joining themselves in, seeming like they're going to go for a similar push. The two members of Dixon and Will be pushing in from the attic position, facing off against the Wamai once again, who's playing at the bottom of attic. The other two members of Orbit Reality will be pushing in. That is Skrazi and, What's It, and as I say that, What's It manages to get a kill nicely onto Cryan. Starting to push through now on the game's draw position. What's It does collect himself a second one, gets himself a double kill now onto R6 Dark. And also, as we push in, Dixon manages to pick himself up one. It's now a 2v4. All of a sudden, those numbers have been swapped so very much back in favour of Orbit Reality. Cairo does manage to down one of them as Dixon collects to delete the game. But now left in a 1v4. It's all up to Cairo. And unfortunately, missing those shots on Dixon as he runs down the white stairs means a round number 2 falls in favour of Orbit Reality. Rent-Free starting off well. But unfortunately, as the round progressed, just as the execution comes out, they're just not quite winning the gunfights. Maybe not expecting members of Orbit Reality to be quite as deep in sight as they actually are. You, of course, saw the smoke swing to throw out his smoke canister onto the default plant position, but in the process got himself completely shot up by What's It, who had actually pushed into sight and vaulted over that football table, or foosball. Wherever you come from, depends on how you pronounce that one, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, nice to see so many of you watching today's stream. And nice to see a lot of you chatting away in chat as well. Just want to say a big thank you to 2 new followers as well. Tillion T, thank you very much for the follow. And also Exoisaik E. I've probably butchered that name, so I greatly apologise. Deeply apologise, should I say. But I tried my best. Like I say, anything with X's in it, my brain just has like a spaz. So, hey-ho. What's It, don't give a shit and walk in. Yep, indeed he really doesn't. He's just like, right, the wall's open, in that case. It's like you've left the door open and he just wanders in. Anyway, we now see, after 2 rounds lost upstairs, Rent-Free swapping down onto the basement site now. Bring along Agoya to give themselves 2 of those shields, although they can be slightly deadly, of course, when they do blow up. They do hurt a little bit to the friendlies as well as the enemies, depending on who's standing closest. But they also have 1 more shield in the pockets of the smoke. Smoke now has to be incredibly careful here while opening. Yep, I was literally just about to say he needs to be very careful while opening up that rotate, because there is a Goyo shield in elbow, but accidentally manages to land one of those shots onto the canister planted with inside the shield, destroying it in the process, meaning one of those Goyo utility shields has now been gotten rid of. The second one is still in place, as it is actually placed further into elbow. And with 2 ADSs being placed around it, it does look like there will have to be a bit of well-played utility to get rid of that first shield. But it does seem like the main push is just a main laundry stairs. Dixon already in at the bottom of the main stairs, does pick himself one onto Washington. He does see the gun of Cade playing close. Will gets downed in the process as he's starting to push from Freezer. But with 3 members stacked up at the bottom here, oh my goodness, R6 Darcy swings, takes out Skrizzy. Krynos takes out What's It, but Shams manages to get a trade right back there, and all of a sudden this push down the main stairs has gone badly for the side of Orbit Reality. They can still pull this one back, they're still left in a 2v3, but with maybe not as much health as they would like. It might be difficult to do, but as I said, that Shams does pick himself up. Krynos, who was sneaking around up above, of course, the Nomad charge had given away that position. Cairo still, though, looking at elbow, expecting a push to come out from here, but does he not realise that the last 2 remaining members, Dixon and Shams, or should I say the last remaining member of Orbit Reality, are sat at the bottom of the laundry stairs? R6 Darky, though, does manage to pick himself up another kill. First he picked up, not Shams, sorry, what was it? Who was it before him? Anyway, R6 Darky playing behind the laundry machine right here, does collect himself 2 kills right at the very end of that round to win out that 2v2. A quick rush down the main stairs from Orbit Reality unfortunately didn't pay dividends to them in this one. I wouldn't necessarily say that Rent-Free were necessarily ready for them, but they did get down into the bottom of... they did get down into the bottom of the laundry, but unfortunately sort of stalled out in that position. Maybe didn't have the members that they needed alive playing in the freezer position. Of course, only sent 1 member there to begin with. I believe that was Will or not Dixon, sorry. Yeah, I believe it was Will, but unfortunately got taken out far too quickly, meaning that, of course, there was no extra pressure from that side, meaning that, of course, there was 4 members stuck in that bottom laundry and they couldn't progress any further into sight. Meant that just the entire push was just halted in its tracks, slowed down to quite a degree. So, of course, the execution cut him out. It does mean now that Rent-Free have to try the upstairs site again. Will, of course, they be able to hold it this time? Or will the same outcome... Will we see the same outcome come out of this one with, once again, Orbit Reality being able to just walk into sight? Certainly what it did last round. And, of course, just take this one for themselves. Anyway, as I say, lots of you in chat today. Nice to see. Hopefully you can talk among yourselves when, of course, I can't chat to you guys. But I'll see if I can catch up where I can. Oh,
5 seconds to insertion.
See nothing actually posted towards me, but it's nice to see so many of you in chat. Sometimes I feel that when I do some of these streams, the chats are rather dead. So it's nice to see you guys chatting, even if it's not necessarily chatting with me. Especially since I've got so many other things to focus on. What's the second map, says Tilly on T? I believe it is, we're going to Villa, and we will see Orbit start on the defense. For now, though, of course, we are on Oregon. And Cairo this time swapping out from that smoke onto the Malusi, bringing a slightly different operator, of course, with a different utility. To see that drone having come in from master bedroom, takes it out quite easily. And now just waiting for the member of Orbit Reality to swing onto that balcony. Pings coming out as sound cues maybe expecting, but nothing as of yet. Once again, we do see the likes of Dixon and Will pushing together onto this second floor on the big tower, opening up a crouch hole into the attic, and once again coming up against the Wamai of Washington. Hopefully for Washington this time, though, it comes off better for him. Hopefully, of course, he is able to maybe win this gunfight and walk away without dying, because as we have seen previously, unfortunately for him, he has been unable to do so. He does see a slight arm there, but unfortunately misses it with one more Wamai device, so covering him. The nade that was nicely cooked. Oh no, unfortunately there, the nade does make it through. The Wamai device was not played at the right time. A swing though does come out and he does manage to kill Will, but right behind him Dixon does collect the refrag straight away. Reinforcement has already gone up in place into the kids' dorms rotate. So that avenue of aggression has now been completely shut off. But of course, with Cairo playing so close, he does get spotted, he does get taken out, but R6 Darky managed to refrag that one right back straight away. Dixon, though, with another refrag straight backwards and forth. These teams just trading backwards and forwards. And currently, of course, we do see Orbit Reality with the advantage. 3 men are left to the 2 of Rent-Free. With that rotate closed off, though, they are stuck. The 2 members of Rent-Free are stuck behind Silverbunk and in the kids' dorms. A very difficult position to push from, especially now that Whatsit has pushed up, taking the aggressive angle at the top of the white stairs. You just see the Legion takes out Devil Aimer and gets himself a double kill as Krynos swings that angle as well. Third time defending for Rent-Free on the top floor in the kids' main dorms. But unfortunately for them, once again, Orbit Reality collect their 3rd attacking victory as they are just able to push into that one. Personally, I would maybe try and hold the kids' dorms rotate rather than reinforcing it off, but hey-ho, that's just me. What even happened with you, man? Sorry guys, just having a quick read of chat. Hello Padge0312, how are you doing? Hope you've had a good Monday. Welcome to the stream. And today's game where we see Orbit Reality take on Rent-Free. Currently we see Orbit Reality after 4 rounds of leading this one at 3 rounds to 1. All 3 rounds being won in the kids' dorms, main dorms room, or whatever the fuck it's called. Which now means that we do see Rent-Free going down into the kitchen and the dining hall. Trying something slightly different for them this time. Of course, having lost the top floor site 3 times in a row. Well, not 3 times in a row, but 3 times. Does mean that they want to swap things up a little bit now and hopefully have a bit more luck on a completely different site. And as we would sort of expect, we do see a couple of operators coming out, the likes of Castle, for example, who is normally bought on this site to, of course, deny certain entry points, sort of control where the attackers will be coming from, so those lines of sight can be held, and also the Maestro being bought on this site as well. 2 very sort of normal picks when you see teams coming to hold onto this site. And exactly how they will be employed by the likes of Rent-Free is yet to be seen. But, like I say, we will just have to wait and see how this one plays out. I'm Gucci. What about you? I'm also very good, thank you. Bit of a long Monday. I do work 9 to 5, and unfortunately, the Mondays are always the worst. But hey ho, I'm here now. Dixon, it does seem like just going for a bit of a rush, but as I say that and try and flick onto his point of view, we do see him get completely deleted by delete the game. There you go. He did exactly what he said he was going to, and took Dixon straight off the board. Quite a lot of aggression there coming out of Dixon. Has worked previously. Currently going 9 and 3. Unfortunately, for him this time, it didn't quite work out. But instead, we do see now What's It sneaking up these back freezer stairs, just trying to get a little bit of sneak on into sight. Seeing if he can find anybody pushing. He does hear one above. Sees the vibe alarm or that motion detector and is now starting to push on into sight. Will What's It be able to sneak in and take some of these members of Rent Free by surprise? Yes, indeed he does. He's now in sight. Managed to pick up R6 Darkzy. And now with What's It having full sight control, well, almost full sight control, he certainly has the A sight control. He now has to try and hold this. Will, though, has been downed in the small tower. It has now been picked up by his friendly teammates, as now the main wall is beginning to get opened here. What's It still in sight, doing lots of damage. Does manage to pick himself up a second kill and starts holding a couple of remaining members at the bottom of White Stairs, as we do only see the likes of Cairo being stuck in the showers. But now he's been completely taken out. Will, though, gets himself a refrag, and all of a sudden lots of kills coming out. Will picks himself up a double, and Scrazzy gets himself one at the same time, securing the 4th winning round for Orbit Reality. Very well played there towards the end. Of course, we saw What's It proving that Nock is still a viable operator. Just snuck on into sight right there. Very, very interesting strategy. One that I wouldn't necessarily expect to see, but hey ho, What's It made it work. So there we are. He certainly helped his team there by just completely just cracking sight wide open for the rest of his team to, of course, be able to push on into sight and start getting that control. We now see Rent Free going back to the laundry room supply room, which was their one and only victory on defense so far. So we now see them going back downstairs. Hopefully for them, they're able to, of course, repeat the same sort of victory that they did last time. However, I believe their victory was very much aided by the fact that Orbit Reality did sort of stall out in this laundry room right here. They did a quick rush down the stairs, but as soon as they got to this point, they just couldn't really cross the threshold of this door. And when they did, they just got very quickly taken down by the members of Rent Free who were sat in sight. Of course, if slightly less aggression comes out on the side of Orbit Reality this time round, then maybe we will see them, of course, be slightly more effective against this Rent Free team. And we may even see them, of course, come away with the victory, which is see them going 5 and 1 in the first half. But I certainly know Rent Free are sat there with their fingers crossed, hoping that they can take this first half before we see them stop onto the offensive. 4 rounds to 2. No, just want to say a big thank you to Paj0312. Thank you very much for the follow. Greatly appreciate it. Welcome to the Elementals, as I like to call you guys. Yes, indeed, we do now see a slightly different aggressive approach coming out this time from the side of Orbit Reality. What's It using that Iona clone to get in there and get a bit of drone intel. Completely applying all pressure onto this elbow position. A nade now going in from What's It. Does get the first shield. A second nade being thrown out by Will, and a third. All of them going straight into elbow. There is so much fire in that elbow position. Now Will running in like a complete and utter madman. Loses almost all of his health and unfortunately doesn't quite make it there in time to take out the member of Rent Free who was reinforcing that rotate. But now he's starting to open up this wall, draw some lines in it. Oh dear, he makes just enough of a hole in his left hand side that R6 Darky does manage to get a kill through it. A double for him so far on the round, and now Orbit Reality do find themselves in a 3v5 situation. Certainly not looking as promising as they might have liked it to. And Dixon has now rotated round into the freezer and is doing a slightly alternative push here. He is prone on the floor, just waiting for something to happen. And something indeed does happen, as we do see the Legion swing him of delete, managing to take Dixon off the board. Now a 4v2 as one kill does go back in favour of Orbit Reality, with What's It taking out R6 Darky, who has proven big so far in this round. Of course, collects himself a double straight away to start things off. And now the remaining 2 members of Orbit Reality have to now decide how to push on into sight. Sticking together, pushing from the filler position. We do see Scrazzy and What's It just deciding exactly how they're going to be making this push. But of course, with 4 members on the enemy team still alive, they certainly have the time to play for it and even the numbers up somewhat. But they have to be very cautious in this one because, of course, if they take one gunfight in front of them, there may be 2 or 3 other people swinging them from behind. Let's see what's it though, holding the position that he is, but Cairo wins that gunfight out as now Scrazzy is left in a 1v4 situation. Scrazzy pulls away, but deletes the game. Sat in the freezer position, manages to get the cheeky angle and takes his head off as he swings that double pillar long hall door. Another good round there from Rent Free does manage to see them finish this first half with 2 rounds on the board, but currently sat in the driver's seat. We do see Orbit to Reality with 4 rounds to their name in this one. Dixon to OP. Yes, indeed, he's certainly shown it so far, but the last 2 rounds he has been shut down incredibly early on. Of course, being super aggro into sight with that Ash and just not winning those gunfights. PS5 made though. Well, yeah, maybe he's got an advantage with the PS5. We may never know. Certainly if he wasn't necessarily performing as well before and is now performing incredibly well, then maybe that is the case, but who knows? Who knows? I certainly don't. I can't really comment because I haven't really known some of these people all that long. This is certainly, I believe, my first time casting for the Kamikaze League, so thank you very much for letting me do this one. If any of you are in here from the Kamikaze League, then thank you very much, and hopefully you are enjoying today's stream. Orbit Reality now swapping onto the defense after their attack. Have this opted to go for this basement site. Hopefully wanting to repeat the same look that the side of Rent Free had, but you never know. Rent Free, because they've held this site so well, of course this site being the one that they have won 2 times so far, netting the 2 rounds they currently have on the scoreboard. We may of course see them having an equally good attack onto this site. We will just have to wait and see exactly what they want to do on this one. Does seem like there's a couple of roamers off on site. I can't see Scrazzy is on site. Where's Will? Will was off site getting some hatches by the looks of it. What's it is below, and Dixon is down below. Where is Shams? Shams is currently setting up for a very, very top floor hold. Dawn main hall. Dixon though, goodness me Dixon, what on earth were you doing? Maybe delete the game, just swung that door far too aggressively, but already that's one of the 3 hard breaches taken off the board. Of course, bringing the Hibana and the Maverick do mean that Rent Free have a lot of hard breaches still left, able to get these hard walls open. But certainly Ace, you would argue, is the better one of the 3 that they have bought, and will certainly make life a lot easier for them. We do now see Cairo repelling in onto this top floor. Maybe a drone has gone in, worked out that Shams is playing in this top floor position. And a bit of a pre-fire coming out from Cairo. Unfortunately doesn't land any shots, and instead Shams does a bit of damage, about 30 hit points onto Cairo. And he very quickly gives that one up and decides, you know what, I'm not even going to bother. But Krynos is now deciding to take this fight himself. Swinging into the trophy room at the moment, trying to find Shams. But Shams finds R6 Darky before, of course, Krynos is able to pick him up. No rotate in the top. Shots coming out. Dixon does manage to pick up Cairo. A C4 coming out, but unfortunately getting stuck on one of the railings there. Does mean that Krynos is safe for now. And Shams needs to blow it up. Nearly taking his own life out in the process. My goodness, Shams, you can't be doing it. Now left on 30 health. Dixon on a flank though is taken out, and Krynos does take out Will as he pushes up aggressively next to Shams. Shams though given enough time though to reinforce off that rotate, allowing himself to fall back into Big Tower without too much pressure coming out. Now Krynos and Washington left in a 2v3 situation. Not very much health left between them, maybe 40 hit points at most between the 2 of them. So we'll just have to see whether these 2 can hold out against the 3 remaining members of Orbit Reality, who of course are on a lot more health. The diffuser though, unfortunately for the side of Rent Free, has fallen in this Big Tower position, so we do see 2 members, Whatsit and Shams, currently playing at the very top of this Big Tower. Shams playing this floor angle, watching all the way down onto the rear stage position, and Whatsit also just watching from up on the tier 3 as well. Does look like Rent Free are very much stumped in this one. There's very little that they can do to really push this without repelling on the outside of the building and going to some of the windows. Because if they push inside, it's going to be incredibly difficult for them to win this gunfight, as both Whatsit and Shams are likely to see them before they see them back, if that makes sense. Hopefully my English hasn't failed me so far, but a drone now coming in from Washington does drone out maybe that there are a couple of people there. Krynos pre-fires the angle and collects Shams, but Whatsit instantly gets a refrag, picking Washington up as well. It's now a 1v2. Krynos left in this very unfortunate position, and with both remaining members of Orbit Reality being on full health, there's not really much way he's going to win that. And as I say that, What's It does finish him off. And that's the end of round number 7 as we see Orbit Reality once again take another round on the board. Currently 5 rounds to 2, I believe. 2 more rounds they need at the moment to win this first map out. But will Rent-Free be able to put up a stern attack and be able to, of course, keep themselves in the game for a little bit longer and maybe even, with a bit of luck, force themselves through even into an overtime position, which would certainly give me plenty to commentate on tonight, so we'll just have to see how my voice copes. Sorry about that, I did just have a little bit of a stroke. I do apologise. Anyway, the site that Orbit Reality now see themselves going to is that of Kids' Dorms and the Dorms main hall on the top floor. Let me just have a quick catch up on chat, see how you're all doing. PS5 does change people, to be honest. Fair enough, I don't doubt it. It's certainly a different controller, and if nothing else, just the feeling of a different controller can sometimes... And of course I know it's much better hardware, so... He was shite before PS5, still awful, but better. Fair enough, I'll take your word for it, nearly R6. I think Scrazzy is pronounced like scary, that's why the rest of them call him anyway. Okay, thank you very much, Lydia. I'll try and remember to do that. Like I say, when people put X's in their names, of course, it's normally because the vowel that they want to put in it is missing. So, yeah. So, there you go. And I never know which vowel to, of course, replace it with. I give it a go, but hey ho, I will try and pronounce it scary. I do believe I see Dixon maybe going for a little bit of a spawn peek here. Yes, indeed, he has broken the very bottom left plank and is currently watching for that long angle. Nobody so far has stuck their head up right in front of him, but maybe a drone has spotted out this position as a little bit of a pre-fire does come through. Tilionti, fair enough. Hopefully I'm able to pick myself up a PlayStation 5 at some point and then I'll become even better than I currently am, which, knowing how shit I am at the moment, hey, there's maybe some hope that I could actually get good at Siege at one point, but we'll just have to wait and see on that one. Anyway, we currently see Will playing in the Armory position with the Ella, opting not to go with the shotgun and instead stick with the Scorpion. Currently at the moment, of course, contesting on to the Zofia, sister versus sister, as she plays around the Armory window. He does hear at the moment, pre-flash coming out, but Will with a quite lucky hip-fire headshot right there onto Krynos does take him completely off the board, collecting himself another kill and only losing about 45 hit points in the process. Still holding this Armory position could prove crucial in getting rid of the players of Rent-Free, who are now pushing into the trophy position. What's it on the roam below does pick up Washington. And now the ace is currently stuck in that position. But a double swing, Will manages to cover his friendly smoke. Of course, collecting the head of Ace in the process and dropping Diffuser in the master bedroom. The remaining 2 members, R6 Darky and Cairo, are currently trying to push from the attic position. But nothing going much yet. And Dixon managed to pick up Cairo on the roam downstairs in the bottom of meeting. A bit of a pre-fire, I believe, coming out there from What's It. Gets the kill on R6 Darky, securing his team the flawless round. A very strong defense coming out there from the side of Orbit Reality. Absolutely strutting their stuff. Rent-Free just had nothing to answer to them right there. Of course, was started by Will getting maybe what you would consider a lucky hip-fire headshot with the Scorpion onto that Armory window, but a kill's a kill, a headshot's a headshot, even if it is slightly bullshit, and hey-ho, I'm sure there will be points, both when he's playing ranked, both when he's playing comp, that will get bullshitted just as much as he bullshitted on Krynos right then and there. What we do now find ourselves, though, is currently sat at match point. Orbit Reality have managed to secure themselves 6 rounds so far, so with one more round they will secure themselves the first map of this best of 2, and we'll see them in good stead heading into the second map of Villa. Can Rent-Free, though, of course, start a comeback? Can they get 1 round on the board? Can they get 2? Can they maybe get the full 4 that they need right now to, of course, take this map into overtime? I'm certainly not fully hopeful for Rent-Free, but there's part of me that really is rooting for the underdog and hopes that they are able to take us into overtime, as I'd certainly like to see a little bit more siege between these 2 teams. Certainly, of course, it's bound to be exciting siege if we do end up going into the overtime position. You wouldn't necessarily be sat here going, oh, 4 rounds of boring siege, when Orbit Reality currently find themselves sat on match point. So we'll just have to wait and see. 13 actually, nearly off. Wow. Wow, call it, man. Cool it.
Attackers are moving out
Keep
to
it in your
locate a bomb
pants.
and defuse it.
At least while you're in my chat.
Bomb diffuser has been dropped. Attackers recovered
What does it say
the
about
diffuser.
set? Splash, I don't think it does. It was proof, I don't have proof. Fair enough. Anyway, it does seem like the members of Rent Free will be pushing here onto the main door. Delete the game, taking a lot of damage there. Dixon doing a run out from the small tower. Does do the little crouch position and is actually eventually taken out there. I believe it was by, yep, delete the game does eventually take him out, but a bit of damage being done, I believe, from the likes of Cairo on the shower corridor window. Jones, of course, coming out, alerting Rent Free to the presence of Whatsit, who is now pushed up into this small tower position. The drones haven't quite found him just yet, though, as they're first checking on the second floor, and now they're checking on the first. He has now been droned out, the call has been made, but will Rent Free be able to act on the information? What's now taking a more aggressive angle on this single door, doesn't manage to get it to kill, but on the opposite side of the map, Will does pick up Washington, and now does a run out on the main door, puts R6 Darky down onto super low health. Not quite able to collect him though, but does manage to delete the game all the way down by small tower. Will now collects R6 Darky as well, dropping both his body and the diffuser to the floor. Another long shot onto Cairo, does net himself a triple, but unfortunately as he's outside, Krynos does know exactly where to aim while pushing outside, and indeed he does pick up the kill onto Will, now in a 2v3, but with delete the game currently down on his arse outside the small tower. We'll just have to wait and see exactly what happens. Shams ready for a run out. He does do a run out onto the player by the main door. Does he see the ace down in front of him? Does he take that kill? Yes, he now sees him. Will he take the kill at the moment? No, he just leaves it there. But he takes the kill eventually, netting Shams a kill rather than giving Will his quad. And now all members are outside. We do see Whatsit pushing up, but Scrazzy's the one at the very end, or Scary, eventually picking up that kill and securing Orbit Reality their first map as they win this one. 7 rounds to 2 versus Rent Free. Yes, indeed, Lydia. And he hasn't thrown your channel points this time. Whether that's unfortunate for you, unfortunate for him, remains to be seen. But of course, with 7 rounds to 2 going in favour of Orbit Reality, they are the winners of Oregon, the very first map of this best of 2. Now we just head into a little break. I need to just have a quick drink. I think I made myself a cup of tea earlier and it's now gone cold, but I'm going to quickly have that and prepare myself for the second game, where we will be going to Villa. Orbit will be starting on the defense, so make sure to stick around if you want to catch that one. Anyway, like I say, I will be back with you in 2 to 3 minutes. I'm just going to run some ads while I'm away. And like I say, we will be back and underway for map number 2 as soon as possible. Thank you all for tuning in today, though, so far. Greatly appreciate it, and speak to you all shortly. Well, hello and welcome back, everybody. We're about to get underway with the second map, which takes us to Villa. The team that will be starting on the attack this time will be the side of Rent-Free, which will see Orbit taking the defense first, and of course swapping over at the halfway point. I have a confirmation from, I believe, Rent-Free that they're ready to go. Just need confirmation from... Perfect, everybody's now ready, so we can get this one underway nice and quick. Make sure to get your predictions in. The second prediction has now started, so let's get underway with map number 2. While we get this one underway, just want to say, of course, thank you everybody for tuning in today. It's greatly appreciated. Is it just me, or can you not change your game chat icon size anymore? Yes, indeed, you can't change your game chat size anymore, N2 Splashy. I don't know where it's gone, but certainly, if you remember, all of those options were also available with some that allowed like text-to-speech and stuff. I'm never sure how it works myself, because I never experimented with it and tried it, because it wasn't a thing that I did. But I believe that functionality has now just completely disappeared from the consoles. I'm not sure whether it was intended to be removed, whether nobody used it so they just removed it, or what. But I think along with that, the voice chat icon, of course, changing the size of it was removed at the same time. Bit of a shame, because it does mean that, of course, when people are talking in game, if you don't quite like the size of it, if you want it bigger, you want it smaller, then it's going to be difficult. But here we are, hey ho. Hopefully they introduce it again at some point, even if it's not all the text-to-speech malarkey, at least if they then allow us to, of course, change the game chat icon size. Also, how's everybody feeling for the new season dropping tomorrow? What's everybody's thoughts on Flores? What's everybody's thoughts on the Gone 6? What's everybody's thoughts on the, what's the rework? Border rework, there we go. Showing off my siege knowledge right here, big flex. Oh, dear me. Anyway, for those of you that haven't voted already on the predictions, be sure to drop those channel points on there right now. I'd like to see a lot of you, want to see as many of you as possible dropping it in there. The band's coming out this time, the two Spanish operators of Jackal and Mira, also getting rid of Maverick and Malusi. Both Maverick and Malusi, of course, saw quite a bit of extensive play in the previous map. Excuse me. I don't think Jackal was banned, of course, so we didn't see any of him being played. And, of course, Mira. I can't remember whether she was banned or not, but even if she was, or wasn't banned, should I say, I don't believe we saw much play with her. Will has picked the Aruni. I'm not 100% sure whether that is allowed, but he's very quickly swapped off of it. I'm not sure. I know some leagues are introducing Aruni and Chanka now as playable operators either towards the end of their season, start of their seasons, depending on where they are in the spectrum of things, with, of course, a new season dropping tomorrow. But as this is, like I say, I haven't really casted for Kamikaze before, so I don't know the rules very well, and unlike some other leagues that I'm part of, like the ERSL, I'm not an admin, so I don't either write the rules or know the rules. So, apologies if I, of course, cock anything up, but hopefully we will... Everybody will do what they need to do. Nobody's doing anything naughty, so we'll just have to wait and see. Philip going to be trying to bring out TK because Flores is gay. Well, yeah, there is that, which is why I certainly hope to play as a 5-stack, as and when I get on for the season. But to be honest, at the moment I've just been enjoying playing some other games at the moment and just having a little break from Siege. Fortunately for me and my team in the ERSL, we've made the playoffs, and we've actually got basically a rest week before the playoffs start, because yeah, we've just ended up not having a game this week, so it's quite nice for us. Anyway, we do see now Orbit Reality taking the top floor, the statutory and trophy room as a starting position. Castle making footholds all the way in the between the wolf window jumping and the top red stairs. Statutory door swing. Delete the game though. Picks up an opening pick onto Dixon, who was playing very aggressive, trying to do a bit of a spawn peek by the looks of it from the study single door. Rent-Free have now got themselves the opening early pick and already completely swarming this study balcony very, very, very quickly.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
now, of course, started to take this study, but do they realise the likes of What's It are playing on the main stairs? Well, they do now, as Cairo picks himself up another kill. Well, sorry, Cairo picks himself up his first kill, but the second one for Rent Free. As now being droned in, he starts taking control of the study and the aviator room as they begin pushing towards the statutory and trophy site. Of course, a very big hold has been put together with some, of course, rotate some holes in certain walls to try and hold on to this master bedroom position, but of course with the push coming out on the study aviator side, those are not required. So you do see the smoke of Scary picking up his shield and rotating it round to a different position, so of course he can now play on this rotate on the triple wall in statutory using that shield. Of course, so we do now see R6 Darky rotating round and deciding to push on into this triple wall position. It just misses the arm of the smoke, but does eventually manage to see a little bit of it and does collect himself a kill. R6 Darky manages to get a kill though, as Shams does get himself delete the game. Now left in a, goodness me, a 1v3 situation. Will picks himself up a very nice headshot there onto R6 Darky. Does he realise that Cairo is downed? Yes, I think he does, because he tries to go for the impact, but Cairo is not that close. Washington and Cairo, the last two remaining members. A nade now thrown out at the feet of Willie, has to run away. He does manage to get away before that nade does take all his life off, but he does take a few shots in the process while he turntails and runs. Can Will, of course, clutch out this very early on 1v2 situation? It's certainly looking a lot more positive for Rent Free so far, as now we see Cairo crouching in, proning in as Washington goes to the plant. Bit of a pre-fire there, gets Will a double kill and a clutch! The triple coming out from Will does collect the first round for Orbit Reality. Very well played there from Will, securing what looked to be a done round for the side of Orbit Reality, but patience, good timing, good map knowledge meant he knew exactly the right time to swing. Unfortunately for him as well, Cairo had been put on incredibly low health, so it was quite an easy pick. And of course, with Washington planting behind him, Washington just didn't have a gun pointing towards him, so Will manage to win both of those gunfights and walk away with the victory. A very nice 1v3 clutch coming out from in there, and I'm sure Liddy is proud. I'm guessing he's in your good books now, Lydia, since he just went and clutched that one, and probably good books with the rest of his team, probably even more so than with you at the moment. The fact that he managed to clutch that one out when it did seem, after that early pick onto Dixon, after he was playing so aggressively on that study balcony door, of course it does mean that Orbit walk away with the first round victory, which is exactly what they needed, especially after everything looked a bit dire to begin with. Anyway, the second site of choosing for Orbit will be the Aviator and Games Room. Yes, indeed they do. So are you suggesting that they take it entirely, as in this entire map too, or just that round? Or Exo's Cycle? How do I pronounce that? Very proud, although I can hear him screaming from downstairs. Allow it, allow it. Is that screaming in happiness, or is that shouting at the rest of his team for leaving him in 1v3? I don't know which one I'd be doing. But anyway, we do see now Orbit going for their second site, that being the Aviator and Games Room. Using these shields at the top of main stairs with a rotate to, of course, extend the site somewhat, but as well they've also created head holes into Study. Meaning that Study is not actually a safe place. Of course, if you do reinforce these two walls right here, it does mean that very quickly and very easily members of your team can just run straight from the study balcony door into the study position and hook tight to these walls right here. Of course, meaning that whether you can then play around in study, you can open the walls when you so choose to, if of course you can take the utility off of them that may be being used. But of course, as we see here from the side of Orbit Reality, they aren't actually bringing any wall denial utility. Also, while I'm just looking here, we do see the entirety of Rent Free now pushing into the master bedroom side. Currently, though, we do see What's It currently on the roam playing in the bedroom, just waiting for someone to peek, and somebody does! It was the ace of Delete the Game who manages to take What's It's head off before he sees him, but Shams managing to get a refrag straight back for his team, taking out Cairo. Not exactly sure where that one happened. Where was Cairo? Where's the dead body on the floor? I'm not quite sure, to be perfectly honest with you. We'll find him one day. There will be a dead body on the floor, and I will find him. Dixon now playing on this 90 position, just trying to stop the control at the top of red, falling to rent-free. Of course, if he can control this angle, control this position, then it is a very strong one that he can use to either flank or just apply pressure, stopping the side of rent-free being able to push any further on into sight. Of course, he can fall back to the Goya shield that we just saw behind him, being played on this long 90 hall. Right by the door and by the rotate is a good position to fall back to if required. Sophia, though, using her... oh dear, she just... Sophia herself. Dixon, though, does get taken down as Delete the Game swings a corner, but the Auder from Will does collect himself a kill on Tarsing Starkey as he tries pushing from the top red window. The smoke, though, of Scary is playing within the vault, playing close to that vault door, as we do see it Delete the Game with diffuser in hand, looking like this is going to be the position that he goes for. Will, though, just holding down that trigger and holding down that angle all the way from the games room across to the vault door at the top of red. A very cheeky angle that he has here, and like I say, with the Auder in hand, he can just hold down that trigger and keep the bullets firing. Quickly opening himself a rotate, though, does mean he can now push into study and come from an unexpected angle against the members playing here. And indeed, Washington was not expecting him to be there, so Will collects himself a double now. Shams is back in sight and gets picked up by the Zofia, who's now pushed onto the rotate at the top of main stairs. She's now in sight, but the person with the diffuser... Oh my goodness, Krynos, what a cheeky little flick onto Scary, and finally the remaining kill onto Will, who was still playing in the study position. To be honest, I thought there was 3 members of Orbit Reality left, but Krynos proved me completely wrong there by finishing off the final 2 members of Orbit Reality and securing rent-free a round on the board. 1 round apiece for both of these teams right now as we now head into round number 3. A nice hold from Orbit Reality there, but unfortunately for them, both Delete the Game and Krynos having very good rounds. Krynos as well also recognising that a lot of pressure was being applied not at the top of the main stairs, but onto the study and the 90 hallway, allowed him to, of course, realise that a flank was the play, dropped below, went underneath, and came up those main stairs, and just managed to surprise those last 3 remaining members of Orbit Reality in sight, collecting the triple on his way to securing his team the victory on round number 2. Round number 3, though, does see Orbit Reality going back to exactly the same site, hoping to try and hold it a little bit better this time. I believe bringing exactly the same team composition, but instead of the Valkyrie, Dixon is instead this time bringing the Vigil. Of course, maybe believing that his position had been given away by a drone in the previous round, now deciding to go for the operator that can, of course, just completely counter the drones. But it does look like he may even be preparing for a run out here from the laundry door.
10 seconds remaining.
Indeed, Leon T, it's good to see a good round coming out from the side of Rent-Free. It's always nice to see when a team that hasn't necessarily been performing as well, even if they end up not coming away with the victory, it's just nice to see when they get one back at the team that they're facing, especially when they're such strong opponents, which so far Orbit Reality have proven to be. Regardless of their ranks and stuff, certainly if you look at their performance from the Oregon game and so far from Villa, they've been performing very well. Rent-Free, though, sticking together on this push, deciding to go for a complete study take. All 5 members of the team currently stacking up on this study balcony at the moment. 3 on rappel, 2 on the balcony. The Thatcher sat right behind the Ace currently, while the droning for the Ace, making the calls. 2 now go to the roof of the Nomad and I believe the Zofia. Deciding to go for a slightly different push. We also see Delete the Game going to the roof, but maybe if Dixon decides to open the window for the master bedroom here just at the right time, he might be able to get himself a pick, but instead he falls back into the master bathroom as he now hears footsteps above as Krynos rotates round to this position. Prefire coming out on the window, just I think to open it up a little bit and get a bit of sound cue in there. Maybe a drone had spotted out that Dixon was somewhere in this area. Indeed, Prefire's coming out there where maybe Dixon previously was, but Dixon has now very wisely fallen back into the astronomy position and has now escaped down the back stairs. Dixon now completely falling off and just lying prone, waiting for someone to fall into his trap on the back stairs here. Drone work coming out above, and it seems like the entirety of Rent-Free, apart from, of course, the Thatcher who is droning still from the study bout, have decided to commit to this master bedroom trophy side push. And as I say that, Watsits, who was also playing on this side aggressively, has managed to take out the likes of Krynos from the trophy position as he pushed into statutory room. Picks himself up a double by collecting the head of Washington. Now still playing prone behind this trophy cabinet in the middle of the room. Dixon has now also pushed up to support on these back stairs. Is there a member of... Excuse me. Is there a member of the rent-free team in astronomy? Yes, indeed there is. But once he collects himself the triple, currently on for the ace as he collects Cairo. Dixon, though, completely slaps that possibility, nips that possibility in the bud as he does delete the game. And now it's a 1v5 situation with Scary collecting the final member of rent-free, R6 Darksea, who is still sat in the study area. A flawless round once again coming out from Orbit Reality, their second one of this best of two so far. We saw the first one coming, and I believe the penultimate round on Oregon, and now we see another one coming out of them on their third defense on the Villa map. Certainly stamping their authority on this map, proving that the previous round was just a fluke, or maybe was just a fluke on the side of rent-free, of course being able to get that to victory on the previous round. Of course now showing Orbit Reality coming back and showing that they have what it takes to hold that site a lot better than they did previously. Now we do see, as they have had 3 rounds since they first went to it, we do see the side of Orbit Reality now going back to the trophy and statutory room. Dixon, though, swapping off of, I believe, the Vigil onto the Frost. An interesting choice right here. Of course, Frost mats can prove deadly to some people, especially when you just least expect it. And, of course, using that sick pick ability does mean that unless he gets droned out early on, the members of Rent-Free will not realise that there is actually a Frost on the board and maybe vault in windows without checking beneath them. Most players do get into the habit of checking underneath them when they vault through windows, but I certainly know from experience as well, sometimes when I get into the higher elo lobbies, you just don't expect people to be bringing a Frost, and certainly putting them in such silly places like that on red stairs. But, you know what? Places like that against some players, like, if you're against golds, low plats, silvers, they will always look for Frost mats. If you're against, like, high plats or diamonds, it's like they just forget. It's like they just forget that Frost is a thing. Dixon, though, despite the change of operator, is still being quite aggressive with it. As you see him making just some bullet holes, watching onto the study balcony door, waiting for someone to peek this angle so he can try and take them out from this cheeky position. Of course, he doesn't have suppressor on the gun, so the bullet tracers may have been seen by the member of Rent-Free who was playing on there. It's Krynos as the sledge, but no, he gets in just the wrong position, and Dixon completely takes his head off. Unfortunately, I missed that one. We weren't able to watch that. Sorry, my stream manager's messing up a little bit. I need to just give it a quick reload. Oh dear, it's completely messing up. Just have to bear with me a minute, ladies and gentlemen. Will, though, collects himself a kill onto R6 Darky. Very nice shot there. Just have to bear with me, my streamer dashboard was messing up. Shamzo with a TK does take Will's head off, but also collects the head of Cairo at the same time. A nice little trade there, you could argue. Dixon collects himself a second one from exactly the same bullet holes as he used before, collecting Washington on the study balcony. I should now be back with you. And once again, we do see a 1v4 situation that very quickly turns into a 1v3 as Delete the Game does collect Scary. But Shams very quickly answers that one back, taking his head clean off, playing very aggressively onto that position on the master bedroom window. Orbit Reality seemed to have just taken that lost round on the second round to heart quite a bit, and have certainly seemed to have turned their game up somewhat. Either that or Rent-Free have just given up a little bit more. Maybe they're not quite as coordinated, maybe they're not as good at communicating, but for whatever reason, they're just not quite having the same impact that they did on the first or the second round. The first round, they may have lost it by the very end, but they did have more of an impact in that round than they have done on the last two. Hopefully their Rent-Free can start to find their feet again, or maybe this is just Orbit Reality turning the level of sweat up to max, wanting to finish this one as quickly as they can, or just wanting to assert their dominance in this best of two, and showing that yes, you may have been able to defeat us on the second round, but you're not going to get another round over on us, as we currently see after 4 rounds going 3 rounds to 1 in favour of Orbit Reality. 2 defensive rounds left for Orbit Reality to play before we do see a side swap, and we will then see Orbit going on to the offensive and Rent-Free, swapping onto the defensive. Memorial room and kitchen is the site of choice on this one. And an interesting pick this time coming out from the likes of Whatsit. He has gone onto the Caviera. Not necessarily the most anticipated of operators within this lineup. Of course, though, if he can pick off a solo member of Rent Free, then of course interrogation could of course prove incredibly critical to his team being able to win out a round. Having intel for a good like 5 to 10 seconds, I believe it is, of exactly where every single member from Rent Free is, will of course allow him to be very aggressive on that one. And the rest of his team to be very aggressive, collect the kills where needed, and hopefully see them through to another round of victory. Rent Free, though, have, of course, often pushed together, so it's going to be interesting to see. But as I say that, looking around the map, every single member of Rent Free so far seems to be pushing on their own, kind of. R6 Darky is droning in for the delete the game above. However, they're not really all that close together to really support each other. So the Cav may prove incredibly critical on this one. The fact that they are just so spread out. We do see Ayana being bought by Cairo and is droning out for his friendly. Does ping out that Whatsit is below, playing that Caviera. Whatsit now completely gets out of dodge. Decides to fall off it. Now seeing that or maybe hearing that the sledge is pushed in, just completely ignoring those bullets that just whiff slightly past his head as Shando comes down the back stairs and does take out Cairo. Washington does manage to collect Will, though, meaning that it's now a 4v4, and Whatsit just currently trying to find the Sledge that he knows is playing around this position. But Sledge has just completely given it up. He's decided, you know what, there's still a cav around here. I'm not even going to try and push that. As we see Dixon on the other side of the map collecting. R6 Starkey was pushing it into the master bedroom. Supported by Delete the Game. Dixon does do a bit of damage onto Delete the Game, but looks away just the wrong moment. Now falls back into the trophy room. Realises he's been flanked. Possibly a call came out to say that the Ash of Washington had pushed up those red stairs. So, of course, he repositions into the split position. Shots from Shams does get him a good double kill from the top of the astronomy stairs, collecting the head of Washington in the process. Now, Delete the Game and Krynos are left in this 2v4. Krynos very much separated from Delete the Game. They are pushing on their own. So, of course, if Whatsit can pick up one of these members who is on their own, then, of course, he could very quickly get the interrogation off and get the intel needed for his team to know exactly where that other player is. Thank you at the moment for Whatsit coming out, meaning he knows exactly where Delete the Game is, roughly. Not exactly where he is. Delete the Game now coming to join Krynos, as Krynos does manage to get the down onto Dixon. He rushes up with the SMG-11 to secure that kill. Bit of a hit fire to do it in the process, does manage to secure it, but the Caviera coming from behind. She's now going for the interrogation, as we do see Delete the Game pushing up behind. He manages to get the cav and also keep his friendly alive in the process. Didn't manage to kill the teammate in that spray. It's now back to a 2v2, but of course with only 15 seconds left on the clock, Delete the Game and Krynos have so much to do at this moment. And Scary managed to get Krynos with a well-placed smoke canister on the door, and as he swings through the rotate, Scary does take off Delete the Game's head as well with that SMG-11. A very well-placed smoke charge right at the very end there, of course, kept in pocket right to the end. Very much helped by the fact that the rest of his team had been so aggressive early on, not only collecting those kills, but also keeping the pressure off of the site right until the very end, meant that the smoke didn't have to use his smoke canisters until the very end. So he still had all three in pocket, not that of course he needed to, but he knew exactly where the push was coming from, so he knew exactly where to throw those smoke canisters. And of course, if they had managed to get into sight, if there was a bit more health on their side, he could have, of course, just completely smoked out of sight, denied the plant completely, because then the member of, Rent Free, who would have been planting, would have just had to suck it up and eat those noxious gases, and unfortunately probably would have passed away on the floor, losing the round for them. So it was a good round from both teams, but unfortunately right at the end there, despite Rent Free's best efforts right until the very end, it did fall once again in favour of Orbit Reality. Now heading into round number 6, the last one before we do see this half end, and the Sutai swap takes us back to the Aviator and the games room. Seems unfair at this point. It does a little bit, Tillion T. But when you're in these leagues, there will be, well, unless there is like a league where it only allows people who are between Plat 3 to Plat 1 or something as so sort of focused as that, you will unfortunately get some of these teams where, of course, they do have this very different level of skill, whether that's just because they play well as a team or what, but oh dear. As I'm saying all of that, whether that was intentional or not, I'm not quite sure. Shams does go get a TK onto Scary. That's possibly because, whether accidentally or intentionally, he did actually shoot out one of the Goya shields that was being played on this doorway here. Of course, you did see it, or probably hear and see it get destroyed, I believe, by the shotgun that was being used here to open it up. But he does get taken out early. Washington does get downed really early. This one by Cav, oh dear. That is not what they wanted early on. An early opening interrogation from What's It does mean that the Sea are now ahead. But Cairo does manage to get Will. Will maybe playing a little bit too aggressively on that clash. Not, of course, playing out well for his team. What's It now playing aggressively onto this art studio window. Doesn't manage to get the sledge. But of course, we did also see Dixon managing to pick himself up a kill using that T9, or T5, sorry, SMG. To good effect. But Krynos does punish Dixon right back and get himself killed. Will that TK prove costly for the side of Orbit Reality for this round, as we now see it in a 3v2? What's It and Shams being the last two remaining members of Orbit Reality. Shams could prove crucial and deadly with that Vector in hand. A very strong gun, can just absolutely melt health. As I say that, R6 Darky pushes in, gets completely melted. Head gets picked up by Cairo. That's a double, or will be a double shortly. For Shams, there you go, a double kill for Shams. Now What's It and Shams left in a 2v1. Krynos, What's It pulls out the shotgun, pushes on Krynos onto the study balcony, and secures Orbit Reality their 5th defensive round. Orbit Reality very much winning their defense, 5 rounds to 1 in favour of them. As we now see the two sides swap over. Round number 7, we'll see Rent-Free swapping onto the defense and Orbit Reality swapping onto the offense. Will Rent-Free be able to find something? After all, I believe this is their map pick. So will we see them be able to find something? Do they have some strats in their back pocket? Do they have plans? Are they better on the defense on this map? Will they be able to bring the pain to Orbit Reality and maybe, of course, get a couple of rounds more on the board? Certainly after the result of the first match, I'm certainly anticipating that we will see Orbit Reality walk away with the win on this one, but quite by what margin, I'm not too sure. Will it be a 7-1, or will we see Rent-Free be able to pull back a few more rounds on their defense, which will result in a slightly closer game, even if, of course, Orbit Reality do eventually end up winning it out in the end. I'm pretty sure Orbit have been together much longer than Rent-Free. Yep, that may or may not be the case. I'm not 100% sure myself, Tilion, but one thing I can tell you for certain is, of course, if they have been together for a lot longer, then that will certainly be very beneficial to them. As, of course, you just know your teammates a lot better. You know certain calls, like there'd then be stuff that just happens naturally. People won't even need to say anything if you've been with a team for so long that you have almost like that sixth sense of exactly what needs to be done. If you have certain strats in your back pocket that you run every time, then of course you know which operator you need to take without really asking. So a lot more time can maybe be spent discussing other things, better ways to, of course, best a team if you already know exactly how you're going to be playing, what operators you need to pick, all that jazz. And it's certainly something that probably a lot of teams could learn from. Do you see the likes of Scary, for some reason, showing with no health bar? There we go, I've just restored it. 0 to 100 in a few seconds. Will, though, on the early push downstairs into Memorial Room, does pick up Krynos on the roam as well. A nice opening pick for them. Shams as well, collecting ahead of R6 Darky, and already is looking very much in favour of Orbit Reality. Will is already pushing on inside. The Blackbeard shield does save him for a few seconds, but unfortunately he does eventually fall to delete the game, managing to score a headshot on probably the hardest operator to score a headshot onto. Cairo, though, does get picked up by the sounds of it. What's It on the top of the main says, What's It, though, not quite there. Delete the game does get Scary. What's It does get Washington. Washington does get Dixon. And finally, What's It swings around, does delete the game behind the dining... what's it called? What's it called? The bar. Behind the dining bar. I'm not quite sure how we saw him, to be honest. I couldn't see him in that final replay cam, but hey-ho, he saw him, he landed the shot. And another round goes in favour of Orbit Reality. They now find themselves on match point. Will this one be over and done with within the next 3 minutes? Or will we see another couple of rounds? It's certainly, by the looks of it, with Dixon popping straight onto that Amaru. He just wants to end this one nice and quick. And maybe a rush will be incoming. Will also playing the blitz there does suggest that they want to get this one tied up in a nice little bow as quickly as possible. And a rush may be in order. Dixon is, of course, swapping from the Ash onto the Amaru. Of course, both very good operators. The Amaru being armed with the G8 can be incredibly deadly. especially since I believe she has the 2 times and IQ doesn't. I play Amaru enough to know that she has the 2 times, but I don't play IQ enough to know that whether she has the 2 times on her G8 or not. Somebody correct me or tell me which way around it is. Anyway, the side of Rent-Free have opted to go for a bit of an unexpected site here. What I didn't notice earlier, I think it's library and what's the other room called? Library and living room. There we go. I've never actually known the name of this site, but there we go. We do see them going to the library and the living room, a rather unexpected site position to go to. But maybe the unexpectedness is exactly what they need right now, especially to try and counter this rush that we can just see is inevitable coming out from the side of Orbit Reality. Will Orbit Reality be able to force this rush a lot better than they did on Oregon? As of course we did see them do a main stairs laundry rush in I believe the 2nd round against Rent-Free, and of course that did not go very well for them. Unfortunately they lost out that one very early on. And just unable to really make that one work. Shams already has been down though. Like I say, the rush maybe not quite working out. A little bit of a cheeky peek there coming out from Delete the Game does manage to down him completely. This already puts a dampener on the aggression coming out from the side of... Oh dear, Shams, what are you doing? Shams, why did you kill Scary? Unless, of course, he was AFK. If Scary was AFK, then fair enough. But Krynos also gets Dixon, so already this one is falling apart at the seams. A 5v3 already within, like, the first 30 seconds of this round. Shams is only on about 10-15 HP. Whatsit and Will are perfectly healthy. But, of course, Will is playing that Blitz, who isn't always the easiest operator to play. Whatsit, though, is still fully healthy and pushing towards this mudroom position, but the shotgun Ella is still very close. So he could very quickly come to regret jumping through that window if, of course, he chooses to do so. Shamso just currently playing around this main door, just waiting for a call, waiting for a bit of intel to maybe come out from the likes of Will. Shots coming out onto the main stairs, and Will does delete the gamer using a Blitz quite effectively there. Shams being left on the tiniest slither of HP, and very much you could say that Washington did lose that gunfight, since he walks away with far more health being lost than Shams. Shams, of course, can fall to anything right now. Someone could sneeze in his general vicinity and he would probably die. So fingers crossed nobody does sneeze, so we'll just have to wait and see. Anyway, he's now droning himself into Piano, has got a call for himself where that bandit is, but of course that bandit is not sticking around now that he has been spotted by the drone. Will, of course, evening things up by getting the kill onto Cairo, but Krynos answers that back by collecting Whatsit. Shams, as I've said, is on incredibly low health, so just a tiny bit of damage, and he won't be able to do too much. Will, though, trying to be as aggressive as he can with the Blitz right here onto the library door, but playing super close is R6 Darky with that Ella shotgun in hand. She does get hit by her own. Oh my goodness, a very aggressive play there from R6 Darky. Does lose a bit of health in the process. Actually, no, does a bit of damage onto Will and manages to walk away completely unscathed. Shams is somehow still alive in all of this one, just currently lying on prone on the floor, waiting for someone to foolishly walk through the door from Piano, and he'd take them out in the art room. However, nobody has decided to push up onto this one just yet, as Washington eventually does pick up Will, maybe playing a little bit too aggressive, ADSing over the top of that shield, and it's now a 3v1. Shams is playing this one super passive with only 20 seconds left on the clock. Is he going to play fully passive for the remainder of this round, or is he just going to go gung-ho and say sod it, and see, of course, if he can get the 1v3 clutch? By the looks of it, he's just looking to save KD right here, or try and get a kill, and R6 Darky. Oof. Ella shotgun is deadly at whatever range, but certainly when you're on 1 health, as that ace very much was, there's no way you're winning that gunfight when you see such horrendous... when you see such a horrific sight as the Ella shotgun swinging your door into the art storage. Partially aided there by the actual side of, Orbit Reality, we do see one round going back in the direction of Rent-Free. Are they able to maybe carry this momentum a bit forwards, as we do see some strange picks coming out on the side of Orbit Reality? We see Scary bringing the Cali, we see Will on the Glaz, and Whatsit on the Knock. Nobody seems to be 6th picking, so it does seem like they maybe have a plan. Or maybe at this point they're feeling so confident about their win that they're maybe wanting to try and swap things up a little bit, maybe be a little bit memey, as we like to say. I'm not quite sure, but let's see what they can do with this operator selection. It does seem though that Rent-Free are relatively good at taking out the rushers from Orbit Reality. But an interesting setup coming out here from Rent Free right now. With them having the clashing play, they've decided to completely open up the triple wall into the master bedroom, using that Ella shotgun and impact nades, allowing the clash of Cairo to just walk straight through whenever she wants and play, of course, aggressively around these two windows and also the deployable shield.
10 seconds left.
Whether this will work out for them, we will just have to wait and see. Not many reinforcements going up either, and lots of rotates and walls being opened. But as I say, not too many reinforcements being used. Scary does TK Shams. It does seem like these two are just trading backwards and forwards, maybe having a bit of a falling out after that one. Or maybe had a bit of a gentleman's agreement that you could TK me because I TK'd you. I'm not quite sure what's going on between the two. Maybe they want to make this a little bit easier for the other team, I don't know. Either way, it is now a 4v5 and already Whatsit is taking fire, but unfortunately for R6 Darky, he's been unable to do any damage so far. Will also doing a bit of damage as well, firing some shots through onto the smoke, does do a bit of damage, and the nade now does take out that shield. More shots being fired out by Will have now done even more damage on to delete the game. But of course, also, that shield has now been taken care of. Shots going out through the wall, seeing if you can pick up a cheeky kill, but nothing landing so far. Whatsit, once again playing the knock, is pushing in below at the bottom of the main entrance, pushing now up the main stairs, trying to find the Roma, but the Roma has now fallen off and is now playing the 90 position. Will Krynos be able to, of course, win this good fight? A little bit of pre-fire coming out, maybe expecting the knock to be getting closer, but nothing happening just yet. Bit of a strange position for some barbed wire, but sure. Krynos maybe just wanting the points. Is that you drawing a big L, or is it because you're on 90, so you've drawn a 90-degree angle? I'm not sure, Krynos, but whatever you're doing, there is a knock about to swing you from the corner. Somehow Whatsit manages to whiff all those shots and does actually get downed by Krynos. Krynos, of course, walking away with the victory from that gunfight. Whatsit, you need to be not losing those. Dixon taking an absolute ton of damage there from the smoke, and a cheeky little angle being held by the Ella from the study window does take Dixon out on that one. It's now all down to Scary and Will, left in a 2v4 situation. Maybe not on the best operators to be doing this, as of course Will is on the glass. Does do a lot of damage with that, of course, marksman rifle. However, it's not exactly the easiest one to use, especially with that scope. Calls being made, of course, from the clash on Will's position. A little bit damage actually being done onto Cairo, but R6 Darky has actually been downed in the process. Scary is just currently playing in the bathroom, waiting and waiting, eventually picking up Washington as he tries to rotate through. The pink coming out on the Clash's position. The Clash has now fallen back into the closet and is now facing straight towards Scary, so he's not able to pick up the kill. Will pushes in. Does he actually realise that he managed to get down onto one of these operators? No, he doesn't. Will managing to get that incredibly good flick, but unfortunately for him, Scary has been down on the floor. Does get the triple onto Cairo, now left in a 1v1 because Scary is down on the floor. Can he win out against R6 Darky? R6 Darky, of course, does have that shotgun in hand, but with 20 hit points left to his name, it's going to be quite difficult. And with 10 seconds left on the clock, Will has to do something magical here, and he does! He goes around to the main window, collecting himself, I believe, the quad, and getting himself and his team the victory in this map number 2, winning both maps in this best of 2. Villa being the first map that we... No, sorry. Oregon being the first map that we did see being played, going 7-3 in favour of Orbit Reality. And the second map of Villa going 7-2 in favour of Orbit Reality. Some interesting strats coming out there out of Orbit Reality towards the end there, and also some TKs. Not quite sure exactly what they were doing, but at the end of the day, they have proven that they are better than Rent Free at this moment in time, but hopefully, of course, if they face off again in the future, then Rent Free can bring the pain a little bit more in the following games. Anyway, as I say, Orbit Reality have now won this best of 2, giving themselves the full points haul that they can from this best of 2. Very well played to both teams. Some good siege coming out on both sides most of the time anyway. Some interesting plays towards the end there from Orbit Reality. But it's always fun and games to watch, and it was very nice to be casting for them today. Anyway, just sort out the prediction for you guys. Get you those channel points back, of course, with nobody putting any money on Rent Free. You basically just get all your money back, basically, is what's happened. But for the first time ever, ladies and gentlemen, Lydia has betted on the correct team to win. A big congratulations to Lydia, a round of applause. Although she couldn't really vote on anything else because, of course, Will is on the team that she voted for, so it kind of has to happen. Anyway, well played to both of these teams. Just seeing if there's anything that I need to have a look at in either in the Discord, anything from there. What's it best not to ever touch the game, says Shams. If you say so, Shams. We'll have to take your word for it. He certainly went big on a couple of rounds, but certainly at the end there, losing that gunfight. He should not have done that, losing that gunfight against that Jaeger on the 90 position. Only took a team of diamonds against a team of plats. Yes, indeed, it only... Indeed it did, Lydia, but finally you've managed to not jinx yourself and eventually get some winning channel points. Shame that you didn't, of course, actually win anything from it. You just got your channel points basically refunded to you, but it was still very good to see all the same. Anyway, I'd like to thank you all for tuning in today. I know there's not very many of you left now, but thank you for all that have stuck around. If, of course, you are new to the channel, then I would greatly appreciate it if you would consider dropping me a follow. And if, of course, you do really enjoy what you were seeing this evening, then dropping me a subscription would be greatly appreciated as well. Thank you very much, Dixon0804. I see you. Thank you very much for the follow, my dude. Greatly appreciate it. But yes, if of course you would consider dropping me a subscription, then it'd be greatly appreciated. But of course you don't have to, because you'd either be using your Prime or you'd be using some real money. And I know not everybody wants to do that, but it would be greatly appreciated either way if you would choose to do so. We do have a few subscribers already, such as Lydia. So thank you very much to all of them for continuing to sub. And for those of you who just dropped a follow, thank you very much. Oh, it's me, Jesus. Jesus Hast. Okay, fair enough, if you say so. Nice to meet you, sir. Anyway, I'm going to tie this one up and end this one today. Thank you very much for tuning in. Today we saw Orbit Reality take on Rent Free. Orbit Reality won the best of two, taking both games. The first one, Oregon, they took 7-3, and the second one on Villa, they took 7 rounds to 2. Some interesting siege from both teams, but in the end, of course, Orbit Reality stamped their dominance on this one and proved why they are in the ranks that they are, but also prove that they were the better team today. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. Hope you enjoy the remainder of your Monday and you all have a good week. I will be probably doing some more streams later this week, so do feel free to drop a follow so you can tune into them later on. But for now, I'm going to call it a night and go get myself some dinner. So thank you all for tuning in today. Hope you have a great evening and speak to you all later. Ciao for now.